Okay, good morning, everybody. Praise be to the Lord. We're going to continue with our class. So we're going to continue with grammar class, and we're going to see and continue with the topic of colons and semicolons, commas. How to use it, how to know the rules. We're going to review the rules of how to use a comma and a semicolon in a sentence or in a paragraph. But today we're going to see how to use, no, not how to, yes, how to use a comma or a semicolon with introductory elements, right? So first of all, we're going to watch some videos, two videos, that says what are we going to use with the commas and introductory elements. Which introductory elements you will see on the video, right?
Hello, grammarians. Paige and I are here to teach you about introductory elements in sentences and how commas relate to them. Paige, how should we define what an introductory element is?
So it's pretty much something that happens at the beginning of a sentence. It can be like a dependent clause or an adverb. But as we will see soon, it is something that is separated off with, of course, the comma.
Because that's what commas do. They are separators. So let's talk about dependent clauses first. Let me just write out a sentence that begins with a dependent clause. When you come in, please take off your shoes. And I've made the difference between the dependent clause and the independent clause pretty clear. So this is, the dependent clause is purple, the independent clause is green. Is there a need for a comma here?
Of course.
Okay, because we're leading with the dependent clause, and that means that this thing can't stand on its own, right? It's like the ladder up against the tree. Because an independent clause in green can stand on its own, a dependent clause cannot. So we need to differentiate it from the rest of the sentence by putting the comma there. So this is a dependent clause, and this is independent clause. So if you start a sentence with a dependent clause, you're going to need to put the comma in the middle before you proceed to the independent clause, which is the part that makes it an actual functioning sentence.
Right.
If you have it the other way around, though, if it's just please take off your shoes when you come in, no need for a comma. I'll show you. So I'm not sure why this is. I think it may just sort of be a style relic. I'm not entirely certain. I mean, if you go back in American history and you look at like the Federalist Papers and you look at the way that people used commas in the 18th century, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense relative to how we use commas today. So a lot of this is cultural, but I can tell you that when an independent clause comes before a dependent clause, you don't use a comma. And if you are uniting two independent clauses, in the following sentence, I wrote an elephant and then I ate a mango, these two things are both independent clauses, right? I wrote an elephant, then I ate a mango, right? Like these two things need to be connected by this conjunction and, but that's not all. They also need to be joined by a comma. Now you could also sub out if you wanted to, get rid of this comma and this and put in a semicolon, but that's a story for another time. So if you're uniting two independent clauses, just do comma and then a conjunction. So that's one way to think about how to use commas for introductory elements like dependent and independent clauses. But there's also another thing I want to introduce you to, and that's sentence adverbs. Follow us over to the next screen. So Paige, what is a sentence adverb? How does it work?
So we've been talking about, starting sentences with clauses, but that doesn't always have to be the case. You can start a sentence with an adverb. Like, let's say, initially, I was afraid.
So what is initially doing in this sentence here, in this expression?
Basically, it's modifying like the whole rest of the sentence. It's modifying the I was afraid.
So we're going to put a comma here to separate it from the rest of that expression. That's why we call it a sentence adverb, because it's not. This is not the same as saying I was initially afraid. This is kind of, like you said, modifying the entire expression. Let's look at another example.
Basically, you're the greatest.
Oh, thanks, Paige. So we've got this word basically, and basically is modifying the entire expression. It's kind of qualifying the whole thing.
Right.
So we're going to put a comma between this sentence adverb and the sentence itself.
Exactly.
Cool. So initially, Paige, this seemed pretty complicated to me.
Right, but basically, I think we got it down.
All right. We think that essentially you can learn anything. David out.
Page out.
Okay. It's a little bit confused, that video, but it's how to use with an introductory system. We're going to watch another one that explains a little bit better. Then we're going to watch some slideshows. So, let's see. Let's see, what is the video? This one. So watch the video also, please, and pay attention.
Introductory elements and some short phrases. It's pretty simple and pretty straightforward. So with introductory elements, we use commas after certain introductory elements. Let me show you what I mean by that. Right, we use commas to set off mild exclamations such as well, oh, or why at the beginning of the sentence. Other introductory words like yes or no, they are also set off with commas. Let me show you some examples. Why, you're Andrew's mother, aren't you? Well, why is one of those mild exclamations at the beginning of the sentence, so we offset it with a comma after why. Yes, there will be a grammar test next week. Like I said in the bullet above, other introductory words such as yes or no also are set off with commas, so we put a comma after the yes. Take a look at this one. Nevertheless, I do not want to meet his girlfriend. Think about where the comma would go. Right, after nevertheless. How about this one? This one's pretty easy and straightforward. The comma goes right after the no. No, comma, I do not want to hang out over your house. We use a comma after introductory participle phrases. So, for example, a participle is a form of a verb that ends in ing, ed, or en. So either ing, the past tense, or en. Let me show you what I mean. You use a comma after an introductory participle phrase. Switching on the flashlight, the ranger led the way down the path to the caves. And that's the bell. Switching on the flashlight, the ranger led the way down the path to the caves. Right, the participle phrase is switching on the flashlight. How about this one? Given the choice, I would rather play golf early in the morning. Well, again, the en at the end of the verb at the beginning, given the choice, that's a participle phrase. So we put a comma right after it. Given the choice, comma, I would rather play golf early in the morning. Take a look at this one. Disappointed by the high prices, we decided to shop at a less expensive store. So look for the participle phrase. In other words, the verb that ends in either ing, ed, or en at the beginning of the sentence. And of course, you see disappointed. Disappointed by what? by the high prices. So that's our participle phrase. Disappointed by the high prices, comma, we decided to shop at a less expensive store. How about this one? Hiding from the evil monkey in his closet, Chris Griffin crawled under his bed. All right, do we start out with a verb that ends in ing, ed, or en? Well, yes, we do. Hiding. Hiding from what? Hiding from the evil monkey in his closet. So that's our participle phrase. So we put a comma right after. Hiding from the evil monkey in his closet, Chris Griffin crawled under his bed. So we also use commas after two or more introductory prepositional phrases or after one really long prepositional phrase. Let me show you what I mean. So we have the prepositional phrase here. We actually have two of them, near the door and next to the garage. You will find hooks for the car keys. Since we have two or more introductory prepositional phrases, they come at the beginning of the sentence. We put a comma after the second one. Near the door, next to the garage, you will find the hooks for the car keys. At the end of the two prepositional phrases, we put a comma. Look at this one. Inside the fence at the far end of her yard. Well, in this one, we've actually got three prepositional phrases. Can you find each of them? Right, inside the fence, at the far end, and of her yard, she built a treehouse. So we put a comma after the three prepositional phrases. Let's try a few more of those. By the time they had finished, the boys were exhausted. Okay, take a moment and find prepositional phrases. Right, by the time they had finished. All right, one long prepositional phrase, so we put one after that. In a stream behind the mountain, a family of bears catches salmon. Well, hopefully at this point you've spotted in a stream, you've spotted behind a mountain. So we put the comma there, a family of bears catches salmon. All right, we'll go over this in a little more detail tomorrow. If you have any questions, email me. Thanks.
Okay, people. Okay. So we're going to see right now our slideshow. So for today, that are we going or we'll be going to talk about the introductory elements of using a comma and semicolons. Okay. If you see first, okay, the introductory elements are words or phrases or clauses that appear in the beginning of a sentence. They add information, but they are not part of the main sentence. To show there are introductory elements, they are set off by commas. Okay? We can use a comma after introductions. For example, in introductory clauses. Introductory clauses are dependent clauses that provide background information or set the stage for the main part of the sentence that's in the independent clause. For example, if they want to win, athletes must exercise every day. The introductory dependent clause is the main clause. In this case, what do you think is the main clause of the sentence? If you said, if they want to win, that's right. That is the introductory clause. The second one, because Smokey kept working insistently, we threw the ball for him. What do you think is the introductory clause in this case? In this case, the main clause. Because Smokey kept barking insistently. That is the main part of the sentence. Let's continue. Let's continue. With introductory phrases. Introductory phrases also set the stage for the main action of the sentence, but they are not complete clauses. Phrases don't have both a subject and a verb that are separate from the subject and verb in the main clause of the sentence. Common introductory phrases include prepositional phrases, appositive phrases, participial phrases, infinitive phrases, and absolute phrases. For example, to stay in shape for competition, athletes must exercise every day. This is an introductory infinitive phrase. This is the main clause of the sentence. To stay in shape for competition. That is the infinitive phrase. Number two, barking insistently, Smokey got us to throw his ball for him. The introductory participial phrase is the main clause. Which one is the introductory participial phrase? Barking insistently. That is only the participial phrase. For the next one, a popular and well-respected mayor, Bailey was the clear favorite in the campaign for governor. The introductory appositive phrase is the main clause, right? Which one is the appositive phrase? A popular and well-respected mayor. That is the appositive phrase. Introductory absolute phrase. The wind blowing violently, the townspeople began to seek shelter. Sorry, the introductory absolute phrase is the wind blowing violently. So, with the next one, after the adjustment for inflation, real wages have decreased while corporate profits have grown. The introductory prepositional phrase is the main clause. In this case is after the adjustment for inflation. Okay? So, as a review, the rules of semicolons, how to use it. Because I start to read many words of you and you still have making some mistakes. And even don't write semicolons also. The number one is to make the gap between the sentences smaller. Number two, to introduce a new complete sentence with words such as however, nevertheless, therefore, okay, for example, etc. Next one, number three. Let's see, number three. To separate units in a list with units already containing commas. Number four, when you use a connector such as but, and, or between the independent clauses. Let's see number five. When you have two sentences connected by a comma, or by a connector and a comma. Okay. And what not to do with a semicolon? Don't use it if you have a dependent clause before an independent clause. Don't capitalize words after a semicolon. Many of you have made that mistake yet. Let's continue. How to use a comma. This is only review for this part. Number one, to separate a series of words. Number two, to connect two independent clauses. Number three, to set off introductory words, phrases, or clauses. Number four, to separate the parenthetical elements. Number five, to separate coordinate adjectives. Number six, to separate a series of phrases. Let's continue. Number seven, to set off phrases to express contrast. Number eight, to avoid confusion. Number nine, to separate the quoted parts. 10, to set off expressions that interrupt the sentence flow. 11, to separate dates, years, addresses. And number 12, to separate a statement from a tag question. Okay, we already know how to use a comma in a semicolon. Okay, so what are you going to do right now? Let's go to our book on page number 199. Page number 199 and page number 200. Okay, what are you going to do? Answer those exercises. Page number 199 and page number 200. The page number 199 said, insert a comma or semicolons to correctly punctuate each sentence. That is on page number 199. And on page number 200, underline each introductory word or phrase, then correctly punctuate the sentence. Work. I want to see you working. Come on, people. Work, because I want to see you working. And everyone with the camera on. Come on, people. Working, man. I want to see you working. I want to see you working. Page 199 and page 200. Both pages have to work. Good, Jose Manuel. Okay, let's see who's missing. Catherine, still missing. Karin. Ah, I saw you. I saw you, I saw you. Catherine, Nico. Nico. Still missing one. Don't worry, Juan Diego. Don't worry. Hey, who's missing? Who's missing? Catherine. Then Catherine, Madeline. Who's missing? Andrea is here. Come on, people. Working, working, working. Want to see you working, all of you. Want to see you working. I don't know why you have a notebook. I'm not working with a notebook. I'm working in the book. I don't know who's missing. Okay, I know Catherine, Madeline. Who else? Okay, nice Ricardo, nice Karin, nice Jose Valenzuela. You were the first one, so nice Valeria. No, Felix is in here. He's in here. Emily. Nice Emily. Nice Jose Manuel. Come on, people, keep working, keep working. Nice, nice. I don't know who's missing. I'm still thinking who's missing. Nice Fatima. Nice Roland. Matute. Matute is coming now. I don't know why. Okay, everybody, finish. Let's see, everybody. Let's see. I don't know what happened with my earphones. I need to buy a new one. Okay, everybody, let's see. No. And the page number 200? Both pages. Page 199 and page number 200, I said. Okay. If you don't finish the page number 200, yes, I know. So I only missed 2. Jimena, on the camera, please. Because I want to see you working. Finish the second one. Finish the second one, okay? Yes, I know you only have 5 minutes. Doesn't matter. I will send the assignment for the class of grammar, okay? It's a PDF worksheet. You can change it on a PDF to change it to work. I will make the change. I will see how to make it. Okay. I'm hungry. Yes, me too. I'm hungry too. So people, I will see you at 1 o'clock for the spelling class. Okay? Because yesterday, remember, we don't have spelling. But today we're going to have spelling at 1 o'clock. So people, take a breath, enjoy your lunch. See you at 1 o'clock. Uh, work on Imagine Learning. Okay? Work on Imagine Learning, people. Bye bye.